Eastern Africa. Name a country that borders Kenya. Little map reading practice. Somalia does. Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda, South Sudan, nice. Tanzania, I think we got them all. Nice. Did I go in a certain order? Maybe I did. Okay, name a country that lies to the east of Ethiopia. Part of Somalia does. Excellent. Yep. Djibouti. Yep. Little Djibouti right there. Yep. And Eritrea. Yes. Nice. Name a country through which the equator, that is true. Yes. Eventually you would hit India. That is true. I should have said on the continent of Africa. Okay, name a country through which the equator runs. It's kind of hard to see. I think we're right here, though. On the continent of Africa. Kenya. Yep, Kenya. Looks like, yeah. The capital of Uganda looks right near the equator. And Somalia. I think that's it. Uganda, Kenya, Somalia. Okay, yay. So now we're kind of familiar here with this map of Eastern Africa. So the book talked about the different physiographic regions of Africa. We've talked about the Sahara and the Sahel before. For the Swahili coast, that would be the lowlands along the coast of the Indian Ocean, which I kind of put a little green box around. But our book says that the Great Rift Valley here, which I circled right here, so there's a Great Rift Valley right there. Okay, our book says the Great Rift Valley is the key physical feature of East Africa. Okay, so we're going to look at that for just a few minutes. Focus on that region. Our book, I did not find this a very satisfying definition, but our book defined it as a gash in the earth. It actually begins in the Middle East and continues southward through East Africa. So, yeah, the Great Rift Valley actually begins up in this area and then runs right through there. Okay, so, oh, where's my note guide? Hold on. Write down information about the Great Rift Valley. You could write the key physical feature of East Africa, if you want to write that down. Again, not very satisfying, but if you want to write, quote, a gash in the earth, okay, but let's see, what does that mean? What is causing this gash in the earth? What is happening here? Okay, what is happening, we think, has to do with plate tectonics. Now, this isn't the best illustration, actually, because, well, when we talked about the layers of the earth, and we talked about the Earth's crust and the plates, we said that there's not complete agreement on how many plates there are. We're going to actually see that because some geography books will describe a subplate or another plate right here. But anyway, so plate tectonics, the view that large sections of the Earth's crust move about. We talked about that early in the school year. See, this, oh, there it is, the Somalian subplate. Okay, so, and we talked about different types of plate interactions, right? The plates could be moving together, they could be moving apart, they could be sliding side by side. So, which one looking at the illustrations and just thinking about it, which one do you think is likely happening in East Africa? Convergent, divergent, or strike slip? What do you think? Which one might cause a gash? Oh, I guess they all could cause some kind of a gash in the earth, but we think it could be a divergent plate boundary. You like that flashing red arrow? That's fun, right? So yeah, so we think it could be, yep, good job, Annie, Knox, yeah, could be a divergent plate boundary, hint, hint. Yes, it stretches from the country of Jordan in Southwest Asia to Mozambique. It's around 4,000 miles. There's actually an Eastern Rift Valley and a Western Rift Valley. It's possible that the plate is, that there's a tectonic plate boundary that's diverging right there. Let's see, that calls it the Nubian, the African plate, Nubian and African plate Somalian. The other one called it the Somalian subplate, I think is what it's called. Oh, note the Afar Depression. We're going to look at that in a little bit too. So let's see. There are a lot of lakes. Some people call these the African Great Lakes. But you see a lot of lakes, you see a lot of volcanic activity. A couple that are active there, and then several that are either dormant or extinct. So yeah, so if the plates are diverging, right, and you've got magma, so yeah, so you may see volcanic activity there. Okay, hold on my note guide, it says write down information about some of the physical landforms of Eastern Africa. Oh, that's okay, so just some specifics. So for example, in this region, Mount Kilimanjaro, I just love the pictures, so super fun. You can write down Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest point in Africa. Okay, it's not as high as Mount McKinley or Denali in Alaska, not as high as Mount Aconcagua, but still pretty high. It is a dormant stratovolcano. I found these pictures of the Great Rift Valley, Mount Kenya. If you want to write that one down, I would definitely write Mount Kilimanjaro because it is the highest point in Africa. Okay. All right. Let's see. Ooh, these lakes. Okay, this is crazy. All right, so these lakes, some of them are extremely alkaline, so they have a pH, if you're a chemist, over 7. They're also known as soda lakes because they have very high pH. Okay, these alkaline lakes have crystallized salt along the shores and are famous for large flocks of flamingos that feed on crustaceans in the lake. Over half the world's flamingos live in Africa. Lake Natron in northern Tanzania, sometimes the pH is very high and the water's almost like ammonia. It turns red because of volcanoes in the region that move molten magma through the ground, through faults, and they well up in hot springs that empty into the lake. And then because of the heat, microorganisms that can survive in this environment, they're called haloarchaea, they turn the water red. And I wrote in my notes, and you see it on the slide, these NASA images were taken in March at the beginning of the rainy season. Lake Nakuru in Kenya is a shallow alkaline lake whose algae attracts tons of flamingos and the crustaceans as well. Okay, this is the crazy part. Flamingos are able to stand the hypersaline water because of their tough skin and scales on their legs, and they can filter the salt out of the water as they drink. The water in Lake Natron can strip away human skin. Okay, it's so alkaline. Okay, so these flamingos could go into the water, and because God made them, so that their legs are thick and scaly enough, it protects them, and they could go in the water, but predators can't, because the water would burn them. You know how like ammonia, strong ammonia can burn, just like strong acids can burn, really strong bases can also burn. So yeah, and the pictures are just incredible. So anyway, whatever fun facts you want to write down there about these lakes, I would say alkaline lakes, very high pH, lots of flamingos. Oh, and they turn red because of algae. The temperature of the water causes algae bloom, I guess you could say. Okay, that was fun, right? One more, and just want to show pictures because look, the Serengeti National Park is in Tanzania, the Serengeti Plain, home to amazing species of animals. Look at this, is one of my favorite photographs ever because of the reflection. Isn't that just beautiful? Okay, Lake Victoria, I would write this down. Lake Victoria, second largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area. So Lake Superior in the U.S. is the largest freshwater lake by surface area, and then Lake Victoria is second. And look at all the countries in East Africa it borders. Right, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya.